What does it actually mean to be Canadian? For a long time, we all thought we knew the answer. But what if that shared identity is starting to crack? Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful article by Manu Sharma. He's an immigrant and a community builder, and he's asking a seriously tough question. Is Canada losing its soul?
And you have to understand, for Sharma, this isn't just some abstract debate, it's deeply personal. See, he came to Canada for a reason, to get away from that us versus them mentality. And now, he's seeing those exact same divisions pop up in his new home. And that feeling, that sense of, betrayal, really, that's what's driving his entire piece.
So what exactly is this Canadian ideal he's so worried about losing? Well, according to him, it all boils down to one really powerful idea: the mosaic.
Okay, and this is a really important distinction he makes. Canada was never supposed to be a melting pot, right? The idea wasn't for everyone to just blend together and become the same. No, he says it's a mosaic. Think about it. Each piece, each culture keeps its own unique shape and color, and it's all those different pieces together that make the final picture so beautiful.
But here's the thing about a mosaic. It can shatter, right? It needs something to hold it all together. So what's the glue? According to Sharma, it's a core set of shared values. And we're not just talking about nice-sounding words on a poster. He argues these are the absolute bedrock of the entire Canadian experiment. It's what takes all that diversity and turns it from a potential challenge into Canada's greatest strength.
But what if that bedrock is starting to crack? This is where Sharma's argument takes a turn. He lays out his case that a new and frankly dangerous political reality is threatening to just shatter that whole mosaic.
He's got a name for it: tribalism. And his core concern is this: instead of trying to unite everyone as Canadians, he argues that some politicians are now playing a different game. They're targeting specific ethnic or religious groups, just to lock in their votes. And this kind of us versus them politics, he says, is literally tearing the country apart at the seams.
And you can really see the shift he's talking about right here. What used to be seen as a beacon of hope for immigrants is now, in his view, becoming a fragile promise. This isn't just a simple political squabble. He believes this represents a fundamental, seismic shift in the country's whole identity.
Okay, and this is where his argument gets, pretty alarming. He's not just talking about politicians saying divisive things. He's making a much bigger accusation: that some political leaders are not just tolerating, but actually celebrating individuals and groups who believe in violence. In his mind, that's a red line, and it's already been crossed. So you gotta be asking, how did things get to this point? Well, from Sharma's perspective, it's not just about politics. He thinks there are deeper, unseen stresses at play, things pulling the country apart from the inside out.
So, what's really driving this change? In his article, Sharma suggests that all this political division we're seeing, it's just a symptom of a much, much bigger problem. So just imagine this for a second. You're a newcomer, you arrive in Canada, and you're just filled with hope. But then you get here and, those promises of a great new life feel just out of reach. That's the disconnect Sharma is pointing to. He says Canada is great at opening its doors, but not so great at having the support systems, the jobs, the education, the social infrastructure, ready to actually welcome people in.
And look, this isn't something that just happened overnight. The pressure has been building and building for years. Sharma basically paints a picture of a perfect storm, You've got global crises, economic stress, and it's all pushing Canada's social fabric right to its breaking point. So after all that, is there any hope? Sharma says yes, absolutely, but it's not going to be easy. His final section is basically a roadmap, a plan for how we can start putting the pieces of that Canadian mosaic back together again. Now, this isn't some quick fix. It's a three-tiered approach that he says requires everyone to step up. We're talking from the very top, our political leaders, all the way down to you and me in our own communities. His point is that everyone has a role to play if we're going to rebuild that sense of national unity. Ultimately, his whole argument boils down to this one simple, powerful idea. Being Canadian, it's not about where your family came from. It's about the values we all agree to share and the future we're willing to build together. That's really the heart of his message.
And so he leaves us with a challenge, really. It's a call to action for every single Canadian to, in a way, fight for the soul of the country. To build a Canada that actually lives up to its promise. A Canada where everyone, no matter their background,
can proudly stand up and say, I am Canadian.
So what's the big takeaway here? Sharma's piece is, without a doubt, a wake-up call. It forces us to confront some really hard questions about who we are and where we're headed. It leaves us with this final, crucial thought to chew on.